Hey there, it's Hornby here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel here, and gonna get back into my personal vlog here and some more gaming memories here. Here we are up to personal vlog number 65 here. As this time, we're going to talk about my memories with the Nintendo GameCube. As I started off, I had a Nintendo Entertainment System. Ultimately, I felt that's the system I have the most nostalgia for. And then when I went to the 16-bit era, I got a Sega Genesis, but I also do have some memories with the Super Nintendo through friends' places and that. But after the Sega Genesis, I got the Sony PlayStation, and then I got a Nintendo 64. I'm going to say that's the system second most nostalgia for. And then I decided to get the handheld with the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance there, which have those personal blocks already made here. And I felt after having those handhelds there, I kind of missed having a home console there. And this was back when I was still in college and had a little more time to play games than I do now. But I'm going to talk about the Nintendo GameCube, and I do actually still have some games here that I'll visually show you, as I do still have some, because in a way, I don't have the original GameCube system, but after that, I got a Nintendo Wii, and I could still play these said games on that system there. And actually, the next personal vlogs after this one, I'm going to continue on with my gaming memory series and wrapping it up here. So 66, I'll actually talk about the Wii and show you the collection I have in there. 67, I'll talk about the Nintendo DS and the 3DS. And then 68, I'm going to wrap up the gaming memories overall, where I'm going to go over titles that I missed. There was definitely some titles that I missed for all the systems I've done up to this point here, and I'm sure there might be some that I'll miss for the GameCube, so I'll definitely do that. But I think I'm going to miss less at this stage in the game, especially when I have some games here. However, these are not all the games that I owned from the GameCube, as you know, I definitely went to GameStops or EB Games, that was called at the time up in Canada here, where I did some trading to either trade and save or, got tired of the game, traded to get something else here, but I still do have some memories here. So yeah, this is one of the things I do, but I'm mostly a Calgary sports fan and cover Calgary sports here, so if that sounds like something you're interested in, just make sure you hit like, subscribe, and follow that bell icon, and follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey here. Home of the Calgary Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders here, where I do game recaps, stories, and then I do personal vlogs, tip to comedy, and anything else I share my experiences, like on holidays or at a sporting event, from my smartphone here. So let's get started with gaming memories and the GameCube here. So yeah, it was definitely an interesting time here, as this actually was a time when the Flames went on their magical run, since I decided to wear this jersey for their magical run to the Stanley Cup Final there in 2004. That was also the time when I decided to get a GameCube here, as I missed having a home console here, and there were a couple compilation games that made me go get it, as they'll still have some in my collection here. But I know that one of the first few games I had, that I actually don't have now, because I eventually got tired of playing it and traded in, was, Luigi's Mansion and Super Mario Sunshine there. I know I don't have those in my collection now, but I remember having that, and Luigi's Mansion was an interesting concept at the time there, and Super Mario Sunshine, definitely another capture. Princess Peach gets captured, and Mario has to save the day, and it's definitely come a long way from the Thank You Mario, but our princess is in another castle there. So I remember having that. I also had the Super Monkey Ball games, and this was definitely also the time that there was a time where Mario and Sonic were rivals. Now you start seeing them on the same system there, is because the Sega Genesis, or Sega as a company there, I think they expanded too fast there, and I think they definitely held too long with the Genesis there and all the add-ons with the CD and the 32X there, that ultimately they came into the software business. So ultimately I got to experience both Sega at its finest and Nintendo at its finest. So that was also another reason why I got a GameCube there. But I also had all the sports games. I mean, I remember having NHL 2005 there. I mean, it was during the lockout there, and I was bitter. I was definitely wasn't happy what happened there, but I felt that was necessary for the NHL today there, but eventually got NHL 5 there. That was one with Marcus Naslund on the cover there, and it definitely was a step up when I saw the games there, and it came on actually a full soundtrack, and I definitely liked that. But one of the best sports games that I think I had on the GameCube was MVP Baseball 5 there. That's the deepest baseball game that I think I've ever played. And the fact that, you can control the Major League team, but also all the levels up from single A to triple A. So that's definitely a hardcore deep baseball game if you're a Major League Baseball fan, and I'm sure with the Major League Baseball games today it's built on that. But that MVP Baseball 05 was definitely an awesome baseball game. Of course, I had a Madden, and definitely was all the sports games there. So I think before I get into my collection here, I'm just trying to think of other games because this was also the time that I didn't go to the video stores much anymore, as the novelty was starting to decline, especially with Blockbuster there. That's when it started declining there, and also the fact that a lot of the games now in this later era here, it's not as much anymore. You need to rent a game to get an idea of the game, because now you got this platform with YouTube or more gaming reviews that you can review the game and have an idea of, do I want to buy it? And as I say, if you get tired and played it, you can always trade it in. So let's go over my collection here, and I'm not too sure if you could say it's a good collection or underwhelming. I mean, I mentioned the titles that I mentioned. I don't have any more, but I'm definitely also a sucker for collections, old games, because I think it's just what I grew up with. But there's actually a couple of games in there that I'm definitely going to hang on to, and they're definitely collectibles, and they were hot sought after items. So let's get going here. So let's take a look at my collection here. So I'll start with this pile here. So got a couple compilation games here. Some of it I think is just a collector's item now, but I actually got this, the Intellivision Lives here, and this was a cheap $20 game that I picked up at Walmart from the bargain bin here. It has over 60 games here. I didn't have the Intellivision, but I just like it for just the collection and some nostalgia. I think I might have actually had, I think where the house that I grew up in before the Nintendo, I think there might have been the Intellivision. I don't remember, but I think I remember there was photo albums. Back when you actually had to get photos developed and you put these things in these books called albums, that there was a game console, and I thought it was the Intellivision. So I have this. I mean, the only complaint I have with this game, it's kind of a nice collection, but is the controls, and it definitely didn't go well on the GameCube controller here, but here's Intellivision Lives here. Now, this is where the hot sought after items are, because I actually got these next. This one at or two of the three I'm going to show, I actually got at GameStop, and actually I had to get it because I understand it's hot sought after. I got this. This is the collector's edition. Apparently this you got if you got the Wind Waker, I believe, on Nintendo Power, and you got this. It was like you had to do something to get this, but I got this in the used game, and it's like I had to get this. This has the original 1 and 2 on the NES, and of course the best Zelda game of all time, the Ocarina of Time. You could debate me on that one, but it's the best Zelda game, and Majora's Mask, as well as the playable demo on Wind Waker. So I think this came in as a collectible. And actually, I've seen this at Video Game Trader shortly after when I got this for 40 bucks. This is back in 2005, where I got this for 80 bucks, where I saw it was 80 bucks there. So I definitely pounced this, and I'm hanging on to this. So I definitely glad I got this here. And there's definitely other collectibles in there, and you might say this could be the best collection. And you also have me wondering, will there ever be a disc? Now with the Switch here, where it has the Ultimate Zelda collection, because I think you definitely have the ability to put all the Zeldas on there. So I got this, and I'm hanging on to this here. So speaking of Zelda here, this one is fun to still play on your own, but it probably would be more fun to play with others. Is this Four Swords Adventure here, and it kind of feels like the update to the Link to the Past. So yeah, you get the 4 links here. So this was still a fun game. I mean, I'm a casual Zelda fan. I'm not the hardcore, but I still say the Ocarina of Time. And seeing my last person vlog, the Ocarina of Time I think is the best Zelda game, but this is still pretty good. I'm not too sure where I rank it. I haven't played them all to make a ranking list here. So I got this Zelda game here. And then the other collectible item, I'm not too sure how you get this, but I also got this at GameStop. Here's the best Zelda game. It's had the Ocarina of Time on there, plus a more Master Quest here on here where you got harder enemies, different dungeon layouts here. So yeah, I got the best Zelda game of all time at plus here. So this is another collectible that I got. And I actually picked this up at GameStop on the used game, and when I saw it, it's like, I got it. I had to get it. This is where I definitely relived the Ocarina of Time for the first time, and I still get giddy playing it today, when I have the time to relive the journey. And like I say, this is why I think is the best Zelda game. And I mean, you can convince me otherwise, and I haven't played them all, and don't have time and the investment to play the more modern ones, but many Zelda lists has this at the top, and yes, I keep saying it's the best Zelda game. So that's the one pile there. I kind of sorted alphabetically from my Wii games, so I'm going to go to the next pile here. So let's take a look at this one here. Got a couple more games here. Still on the Zelda here. Well, of course I got the Wind Waker. I actually might say this one, after the Ocarina of Time, is my next favorite one. Because it looked like a nice, I mean, it seemed to got some criticism on how they drew it, how it looked so cartoony-ish. But, I mean, if I had more time, if this came out when I was younger here, that I definitely would have had more time to invest in it. But I'm going to say, if I say the Ocarina of Time is my favorite and the best, I think this one would take the silver medal for being second place. And then probably could say the Majora's Mask for a Darker Adventure, but this one kept it fresh, and it was second place and gave me that giddy feeling that I get with the Ocarina of Time. And let's get away from Zelda now. I think this is probably the best Mario Kart game. Double Dash. This one's definitely unique there that you can team up, and I remember the commercial. It was like in an airport, and you're on the carts there and people throwing luggage at each other. But I think this one might be the best. I'm not too sure what I could say is the best Mario Kart game, but I'm going to say I haven't seen anything that's come close to this again. I know they've updated it and get bigger tracks, and they always have to have that Rainbow Road. But I absolutely love this one for what it is, and it still stands the test of time today. And no, that's 64 I'm thinking of, that it has that fourth place. I think it was Nintendo Mario Kart 64, where it's hard to do because you have to finish at least fourth. But finishing fourth and get that bomb, that's in Mario Kart 64 here. But I like this one just how it took it to the next level at the time here. So let's go to the next pile here, and if I say the Zelda collection was sweet here, this was actually got me onto the GameCube. Mega Man Anniversary Collection here. I definitely loved Mega Man growing up. Loved and hated in terms of how much it kicks your you-know-what. But when I saw this, I definitely had to get a GameCube. This was one of the games that ultimately made me get the GameCube, was the Mega Man Anniversary Collection here. I owned 3 and 4 with the NES there, and then I upgraded to the Sega Genesis, so I didn't play the other ones here, but I'm going to say that the first 4 games in this one, 1 through 4, are the best ones. 5 and 6 had different elements to it, but then they had 7, and I did play 8 on the PlayStation there, and it was great that you had 1 through 8 on here. The arcade games are like, there were bonus unlockables here, but this one's also a deep collection where you get the original Mega Man game here, and this also stresses why he belongs in the 2D 8-bit era there, and I think what I'll talk about in the next personal vlog there, that Capcom got it right to get it back here, but this is an awesome collection here. If the Zelda one was also awesome, this one's a close second here. And of course, I had to get the Mega Man X collection here, as this was on the Super Nintendo here, and I remember playing the, I think it was X1 or 2 on the Game Boy Color here, and it was based on this title here. It had the same music except the different, the Game Boy Color can only do so much here, but this was definitely a faster paced, much harder version of Mega Man. I like the classic series a lot more, but this one you have to be really hardcore here. And speaking of Mega Man here, when I got the Anniversary Collection here, I actually played the Battle Network there, and it just wasn't the same, or I don't know, maybe it's just a different generational thing there, but I like the 8-bit era there, and that's Mega Man to me. The choose your own adventure, the rock, paper, scissors there, where you beat the enemy, you pick up their weapon, and try to find the weakest enemy there, and ultimately one of those weapons you pick ultimately is the best weapon to beat Dr. Wily there, going through his dungeon, and it's the themed levels. Well, I absolutely love Mega Man, and for the 8-bit system there, it had an awesome soundtrack. Mega Man 2 definitely is the best Mega Man game with the best soundtrack. 3 is definitely a close second, and I had that, but 2, I rented the heck out of that game at the mom and pop video stores. I love that one, and the first one was a nice one that kicked it off there, but I never was able to get one, but I'm glad to have Mega Man here. So let's go on to the next pile here. Definitely sucker for more retro games here, as I definitely got some Midway arcade treasures here. This is the first one here, where it has 20 plus games on here, including the Defenders, Joust, Paperboy, the arcade version there, and it also has a Marble Madness, Root Beer Float, but couldn't beat this for 20 bucks here. I mean, I think Namco made the best arcade games, but Midway could be a close second here, and that's all the extras that's on here. So this is the first one here. Of course, I gotta get the second one here. More 20 games here. This is the one that has the Mortal Kombat's on here, 2 and 3, and then has Smash TV on there. I remember seeing, and Gauntlet there. So, but yeah, and then Rampage World Tour, which I remember playing the Rampage on the NES version here. But oh yeah, Narc. So this one definitely had the more mature games on here compared to the first one here. But at the time, you couldn't beat it for 20 bucks here. So there's that. And of course, you got the third one here. This one had all the racing ones, like the San Francisco Rushes and the Off-Roads and Badlands here. But so yeah, I got all 3 of these because I'm just a sucker for old gaming there. But that's what I grew up with. And then, of course, I had to get the Namco Museum. This is the 50th anniversary edition here. They were 50th anniversary because before they were a toy company too. So this definitely had a nice arcade hits here. Plus I remember having the Namco Museum with the arranged versions on there, but I traded this in to get this one because of there was a lot more on here. I mean, of course, you got the usual Pac-Man, the Galaga, Galaxian, Dig Dug, Rally X. Oh, I definitely love myself some Rally X here, and Xevious, Dragon Spirit, Bosconian, Rolling Thunder, Mappy, and Sky Kid here. So, and it has an awesome 80s soundtrack on here. So, yeah, I'm definitely a sucker for that. And I think these are all collectibles. So, let's go to this pile here. Well, this is now the part where I get my enjoyment of playing Nintendo and Sonic. I had this one here. This one's the Sonic Adventure Director's Cut here, and it was definitely a nice RPG Sonic game here. And this is one where you unlock some, you know, yeah, this is the, this is the one that you can unlock Game Gear games on here. So this is definitely, an interesting adventure here on this one. And I remember renting it, and at the time it was $20, so I definitely enjoyed this one here. Well, how about this? Sonic Adventure 2 Battle here. This definitely started, this was definitely another fun Sonic game here. I believe, not too sure, this one was on the Dreamcast. I think this was the first game launch title for the Dreamcast. I know it was the same one. I remember trying it at a store there, and then just had that opening level here. I think this is the one. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you, but definitely was a fun one, and definitely got to see the enemies as well here, and so I got this one as well, and an awesome soundtrack. And then, speaking of Sonic, I had to get the Gems collection here. This has all the Game Gear games on here, and the Sonic CD there, so I got this Sonic collection here, and definitely got my enjoyment of Mario and Sonic here. So the last two games that I had here, well, more Sonic here. This one was definitely a fun one in terms of Sonic Heroes, where you get to team up with either the good guys or the bad guys, with all the new characters that you learned throughout the other games here. So I got this one, and then the other game that made me actually get a GameCube. This guy, Sonic Mega Collection here. This has all the original Sonic games here. 1, 2, 3, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Machine, Sonic and Knuckles, the Sonic 3D Blast, which the isometrics in that game wasn't as good as Sonic Spinball here, so I'm definitely glad I got this, and it was actually one of the games, plus the Mega Man Anniversary Collection, that made me get it. So I also did remember playing Shadow the Hedgehog 2, and its own game, but I don't have that anymore, and it was okay at best, but it was time to trade it in when it was time to get more games for the Wii there. So yeah, that's my gaming memories for the GameCube, and showing you the collection that I have still. So was there any titles in there that you liked, and what other titles did you like on the GameCube before I move on to the next video game memories here? But I could still live some of them, but as you get older and busier and that, I just don't have time, but definitely could see some value in just hanging on to these as a collection here. And I mean, unless I'll get some good money for it, I'm just going to hang on to it. So yeah, if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel, I'm mostly Calgary sports fan, where I cover the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders there. But I do personal vlogs for whatever's on my mind, and right now I've been going through my gaming memories here, and I'm getting more towards the end here, but I do that. Attempt at comedy there, I just try to be funny in there, and whatever's on my mind, give it a theme and try to be funny on that, and capture my experiences on the smartphone, or if I'm on vacation or at a sporting event there. If that sounds like anything you would like to follow along, just make sure you hit subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified as soon as this Calgary sports fan uploads anything. So follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey here, and see all the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders here, and since I have some Flames gear on, go Flames go, and I'll see you in the next video here.